Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm the Reverend Dr. Laura Kim Joyner, and welcome to our Sunrise Birding for Life mindfulness practice. Today is the 24th of December. In many traditions, we would call this the good night, Noche Buena, Christmas Eve. We are celebrating this entire time, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, the dark and the light as we come back from the solstice on the 21st as our days begin to lengthen. But we're still in what we might call our winter dark time. So we turn to the light, we turn to the sun, we turn to each other so that we can celebrate where we are right now. So, what's going on in your world? The moon is waxing crescent, which means it's still a pretty young moon, but it's getting bigger. And it's going to set over there in the southwest. And what's really cool right about now, it's going to be right next to the planet Saturn. So they'll set about midnight, both of them. So look up in the evening sky before then, and you will be able to see that. Today, we're going to be talking about the light and dark. So, we are here in the midst of a conservation easement here in South Carolina. We're rewilding this land here at One Earth Retreat Center. And I don't know if you just heard that, but those were gunshots in the background. We're surrounded by hunters. And I don't know if they're going after deer right now or target practicing, but life is full of the beautiful and the tragic. And how can we be present even in the midst of this? So, our morning bird report, what's going on for you? I don't know if you can hear the crows in the distance. They're all around. And if you look over my shoulder, we're going to have the sun come up at 7:28 today. So far today, I've heard the crows and the song sparrows and pileated woodpeckers and the goldfinches are pretty chatty right now. And that's what's going on here. What's going on in your world? Anytime we see wonder or perhaps even tragedy, we'll pause and help each other see this so that we can share in community the light of this world and also help each other carry burden. So we'll just take a breath and look around wherever you are. You see the sun? She's about ready to come up. She is. She's about ready to come up. So, in celebrating the light and dark today, here's a saying from Joseph Campbell. The black moment is the moment when the real message of transformation is going to come. At the darkest moment comes the light. Birds can see what we cannot see. The fovea is in the back of the eye, and it's an area of concentrated cones and rods where we can really focus and see. We have one. Birds have two, which means they see things we can't. They can see further. They can focus more and quicker. They can track things that are moving like prey or insects. So their eyes are both a wide angle and also a telephoto lens. For instance, bald eagles can see a fish from a mile away. Isn't that something? That's the other thing that birds can see that we cannot see. They have four cones, so they can see ultraviolet light. They can see it reflected in each other's feather structure. So again, they see colors in birds that we cannot see. And night birds maybe don't, carry as much of this ability to see ultraviolet light. And some birds see more ultraviolet light than they see the regular wavelengths. And of course, night birds can often see much better than we can. So, birds see what we cannot see. To them, perhaps we are in the dark. But if we can look to birds with wonder, they can point us towards the light and wonder, even when we can't see it or behold it. Now, I'm hearing some new birds. Why don't we just take a pause? And also, I see our sun is now up. Let me get out of the way so you can see our sun. So we're taking a deep breath now, taking a deep breath. What time is sunrise where you are? How long are your days and nights? Our days are oh, almost 10 hours long, not quite, 9 hours, 54, 55 minutes. They're just a little reflection of light and dark and what birds help us see. Humans in many cultures tend to lean towards the light and away from the dark. The dark night of the soul, maybe you've heard that, or just long dark nights. We're susceptible to the lengths of days and our dopamine and our brain structure and the, the dark nights. And so what we often tend to do in this dualism, splitting the world up between light and dark, what is not like us or what is uncomfortable for us, we turn away and we'll begin to present a sense of otherness or wrongness or badness on that which we are turning away from. And just as an example of that, in cats, dark cats, black cats in shelters, they are less likely to be adopted and more likely to be euthanized. And dark shades of dogs are also very similar to that. So, we run the risk of disconnection when we push away part of who we are in existence, which is light and dark and all the spectrum. Let's just get rid of the words light and dark. We also risk causing harm. For instance, not adopting cats in the shelter or giving them up more often than others. So let's take the example of how we can break down this dualism, breaking the world and just sort of into two parts and accepting everything. This is what many spiritual practices point to, but we're going to do multi-species intelligence because that's what we do here. And this is a way of being interested and present to what's going on with the motivations, behavior of all species, including ourselves, without breaking it into categories, summing up our limited human perception into categories. We're just watching and describing what's going on. So let's take, for example, the peregrine falcon. This is a falcon that's found on most continents, flies pretty high. It's a really good bird hunter. And it's just really, really good at it. So are they jerks for killing other birds? Maybe, for instance, I work with parrots in Central and South America, and when we see a peregrine falcon take or harm or catch a parrot and kill a parrot that we know or that we've been studying, it's hard for us not to have enemy images of the peregrine falcon. And perhaps if the parrots were to share, they may certainly think that the peregrines are jerks. But they're doing what they evolved to do so they can feed themselves and feed their chicks. So maybe describing peregrines or any other species as jerks is not the way that we want to go. We want to be able to just take in what's going on in the world and describe it. And because we want to connect to everything that is and not cause harm. If we think that the peregrine behavior is bad, we might shoot or kill them. And indeed, people do. And crows and other birds and spiders and snakes. Because indeed, they may cause harm, but are we hurting others because of our discomfort and not accepting all that life is? And life is tough. Many species, including our own, do murder, do infanticide, cannibalism, go to war, do sexual coercion, which we might in the human realm call rape. So how do we judge this behavior as wrong as when it happens in so many species? Now, in the human societies, we have to hold people accountable. No ifs, ands, and buts. We want to decrease the harm. And we also want to describe it and see where it falls in the spectrum of genetics, evolution, and cultural experience. Other animals also have pro-social behaviors: parenting, care, compassion, justice, empathy. So, coming back to multi-species intelligence, it's not about comparing. It's about seeing the gifts of every individual and every species so we can hold and expand our sense of beauty, and so we have the resilience to face the harm that we cause. The darkness, if you want, but is it dark? It's the whole spectrum. But we admit our discomfort, we admit our suffering, we see the pain of the nightmares of existence so we can dream into being another world. As Tolstoy said, all the beauty of life is made up of light and shadows. The stars and moons will not shine if there's not darkness to be seen. Stars cannot shine without darkness, and neither can we, the humans. We can take turns. Crow, you hear the crow out there? American crow. We can turn towards the dark and towards the light, perhaps taking turns, and open the way for a waking dream of a world that is more just, peaceful, and flourishing for all. So, how do we do that when we're uncomfortable? I mean, I mentioned some pretty harsh terms and pretty harmful behavior, and trying to live in a world where we can't always hold humans accountable and decrease the harm. So, how do we strive towards connecting to all even when we're uncomfortable? That is the question. I don't really have any answers. I'd love to hear what you all think, but I have some practices that can help stretch us. And they are indeed stretches. So we're just going to do a couple of them today. We'll do more as the week progresses. I'm going to go out on the grass and you just follow my movements, okay? We'll just do that. Here we go. So what is all that about? What is the scientific reason behind that? Well, let's see, looking up causes mental integration, and people who practice that can be more compassionate. It's good for us. Arms expanded puts our mind into thinking we're not protecting and safety. We are open. Our resources are available. It helps us connect to one another instead of being guarded. We can turn around, which may put us off balance while we're looking up. And our proprioception, our ability to be put off balance, helps us be in touch. It reminds us of our body. It helps us feel vulnerable. It helps us feel like we're going to connect because we're not doing that stance where we want to protect ourselves. Our heart produces oxytocin, a hormone that helps us connect and care for others. And they say people who, I haven't researched this, but some books state that people who have heart transplants can remember things because the heart has memory and it produces oxytocin. So we want to open our chest so our heart has room to breathe and move and remember and care. And some of our best ways of rewiring our brain is when we are in community, when we are doing movement together in community, so we can bring our senses to the here and now, the beauty of this world, and perhaps even the tragedy. So we do this together. And that's why we stretch before we go for a walk, throughout the day, do all these various things. Oh, yes. And bowing. Studies have shown that people who do that, I know some religious traditions do that, but people who do that have a greater sense of humility and connection. That's why people bow, sort of like, here's my neck. I'm bowing down to you. You're great. The world is great. We're all great. So our questions for the week have to do with light and dark. Where are you challenged to see the inherent worth and dignity of another species, individual, group of animals? How do the seasons of dark and light impact you in this winter season in North America? How do you get through the winter or the summer with the long days of the heat? Have you come through a dark night of the soul? Have you seen others do so or not do so? How can we help others in the hard times, and how can we ask for help? Edith Wharton said, as we come to our close, there are two ways to spread the light: as reflecting, the mirror reflecting, smiling with joy, or being the candle that is also the light. May the light of our shared time together go with you through this day until we're together again on New Year's Eve.